guys, Preacher 357 here, coming to you from my study area here in the house, and thought I would take the time to just come talk to you. No guns or no demonstrations or anything like that. Just have a little talk here. A Second Amendment sermon, I guess you could say, a 2A sermon, where I get on my soapbox and talk about a few things. The main gist of my talk today is going to be getting in the game, getting involved in the fight for our Second Amendment rights, which we all know are under assault. There are so many in this country that want to take away the ability to bear arms, to have guns, and to carry them. And the pro-gun movement has made a lot of strides over the last 20 years. There's been a lot of headway made. Pretty much all states now have some sort of carry permit system, and then quite a few now, I don't even remember the exact number at this point, have actually passed some form of constitutional or permitless carry as well. And so those are important victories that the pro-Second Amendment forces have won, but it's not over. And so if you're not involved in any shape, form, or fashion as a gun owner, it's time to get involved, because they're just redoubling their efforts on the other side. And as we've seen from the last election, things can turn pretty quickly in this country, from having, one side completely in power to the other side pretty much completely in power. Just within the span of just a few years. And so it's so unpredictable on the federal level especially that we really need to be involved if we want to have the outcome that we all want to have, where we maintain our freedoms. And so if you're not part of any of the organizations that are fighting for these freedoms, then you need to be. You need to be giving money if you can afford it, to support these things. On the federal level, obviously, it's important. There's a lot of different organizations out there. Obviously, everyone knows about the NRA. I'm not particularly happy with them right now, but I am a life member of the NRA. They have not been performing the way they should, I don't believe, and I'm really concerned about where any money I give them would be going. So I'm wary of them, to say the least. The Gun Owners of America, I'm also a life member of them, but there's a lot of others, the Second Amendment Foundation. There's several other good gun groups out there. Do some research on them and maybe find one that you want to support. But even, I think, more importantly than that, you need to be looking at your local level, at the state level, at the organizations that are working within your state, because I really think that's the more important battle that we're going to be fighting going forward, especially as unpredictable as the federal political climate is. Because those that are against our rights are really going to try to force it down our throats from the federal level. Because they know for the most part they can't at the local level. Because we have more power at the local level. And that's why it's so important that we exercise that power that we have at the local level. And that's really been demonstrated to me in what we've seen with this pandemic, and the way that you have a lot of states that did not go into these full lockdowns, at least not for very long, that allowed their populace to have more freedom through all of this. And then you have others that were locking people down and not giving anyone any freedom. And you see the discontent that those states are starting to have and have been having over their governments doing those sorts of things. And they look around and they see the other states where freedom is still reigning, so to speak, and they're envious of what they see. And they see the economy in their states, going down the tubes, and they look around and they see these other states that are more free, and those economies are doing much better, I think. And what you're seeing is a mass exodus from some of these places into the other areas of the country where there is more freedom. And that's how we end up gaining more federal power, I believe, is by showing people the way, by showing people how effective freedom is and the benefits there are to freedom. And once people start understanding that and seeing that, I think it may start to change some minds about a lot of things. And then as though the population moves into other areas, those areas get more power at the federal level. Now, obviously, the danger in a lot of people moving from one area to another is that they might bring those ideas that were so popular in those states they're leaving and not recognize that those ideas were the problem to begin with and why they were so unhappy where they were. And so it's really up to us to be involved and to share the truth about freedom and to teach people a new way of thinking which for some of these people, they've never thought that way. They've never seen the world through those kinds of eyes because they've been indoctrinated from a young age in some of these places where, they've been brought up through their school systems and through their entire lives only hearing one side. And so those people, we need to extend a hand to them and talk to them about these things and let them know why it is that it's so much better to live in these free areas of the country, and that freedom is what is responsible for the happiness that we're enjoying. And so I think it's very important that at the state level especially, we become more involved. And even beyond the state, even down to the county and the city level and whatever level you can take it to. Because it all starts at the bottom. It all starts with us. And each and every one of us, making sure we're voting for the right people, we're supporting the right people, and we're making it known to the people in power how we feel. Because if we're all silent, then they're going to think they can do whatever they want. For a politician, power rests on the support of the people. And so we have to make sure they know what we want and what's going to make us happy, so that is what they will support. And there's a lot of state organizations out there that are fighting, as well as the federal ones. For instance, I'm a member of the Tennessee Firearms Association. I've got the hat on right here. And I'm a life member of the Tennessee Firearms Association. I try to be as active as I can in that. Those state organizations are critical to us maintaining our rights. And so if you're not in the game yet, if you're not involved, if you don't know who your representatives are, your senators are, the people that are representing you at the state level and at the local level, then you need to get to know them. Because at the local levels, they're much more susceptible to your opinions because they live among you. They live close by. It's harder for them to ignore us at the local level. The further up the chain you go, the easier it is for them to ignore us. And so we really need to be fighting at the local levels, because we as individuals don't have the power to fight against the federal government, not as individuals. But the states do. The states have the ability to push back. And so we need the people in charge at the state level to know how we feel so that they will push back, so that the states can intervene on our behalf because they know that's what we want. Because there is a lot of pull at the federal level against the states. There's a lot of funding that goes to the states from the federal level, which should never have happened. That shouldn't be the way it is. There's nothing in the Constitution that says the federal government should be taking in all of this tax revenue and then dispersing it back out to the states. That's not how things were set up, but that's the way things are right now. And so the federal government has a lot of sway by withholding funds. And so we have to make it more important for the state politicians to listen to us than to listen to the federal government. They need to be more afraid of losing power than they are of losing money. Otherwise, the federal government is going to exercise control over the states, and we can't have that. If we're going to maintain our freedoms, we have to stay free at the state level. And then if we do that, I think that people around the country that are in these other states that don't maintain the same levels of freedom are going to see what we have. They're going to see the freedoms we have and the happiness we enjoy, and they're going to want that, and they're going to start pushing at their state level to get what we have. Or they're going to start moving out so that those states decrease in population and they therefore this decrease in representation at the federal level. But that's what we have to do. We have to be involved. And I'm preaching to myself right now as much as to anybody else. Because I have been negligent at times. Even though I'm a member of several organizations and I try to give money and I try to support monetarily, I know I have been not as active on a personal level at getting out there and communicating as I should have been. And so I'm going to try to do better in the future, and I hope everyone else will too. So just keep that in mind and recognize how important it is for you to be in the fight. Not just other people, but you. Because it's all our responsibilities to stay free. Guys, I appreciate you coming out. This is Preacher 357. Y'all take care.